Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Darth Corruptus here, and today, uh, uh, we're gonna be finishing up, Mortality, the Immortal Watcher, Chapter 2. We're also going to be starting up Chapter 3. If my mic is messed up, I apologize. I would not know why it's messed up, but last time I recorded, which I obviously didn't post, it didn't sound right to me, so if it is messed up, I'm sorry. So, um... If that's an issue, I do apologize. I'm sorry for not posting anything, um, but you know, I recorded multiple times, and every single time there's always an issue with it, so I'm sorry. I tried to post, I recorded multiple times. I'm gonna be busting out as many videos as I possibly can in the next week and a half, because after that, there's gonna be a 2 week break where I cannot post anything. But there probably will be something very special going on after that. So, a very special video, I mean. So, I hope you guys will enjoy that. By the way, just in case you guys forgot or didn't know or whatever, popping up on the screen now will be a little bell thing. This little bell thing is the thing that you see next to the subscribe thing. Now you have to hit that little bell thing. Otherwise, well, guess what? It don't work. You have to click that little bell thing to get notifications, alright? If you don't do that, then you won't know that I've posted a video, alright? Make sure that you click on that little itty bitty thingy doodle called the bell. Alright? Now, where the hell were we? Well, hold on. I'm going to pause the recording and burb. Hello, I'm back. Alright, I figured out where I was. So I'm gonna start off a little bit before I finish that. So, what does Olympus need me to do? I asked as she finally spoke. As I felt her bite back more ugly feelings, I could feel her wanting to scream at me. For why I wouldn't have done this if she hadn't shown me the picture. Why I wouldn't have done it if it was just her asking me. Why I go so far for another woman and not her. Win this war. And then Zeus promises he will let you see her, she said as I nodded. By this point, even a stupid person could feel how painful Artemis's words were. I knew she would never admit it, but Artemis had feelings for me. Fine. We leave in an hour. Gather your hunters and prepare them to go. I have a few things I need to do before we leave, I said as she nodded. But I stopped her as she looked at me with unfocused eyes. I just I think that's meant to be gave. I just gave her a sad smile as I leaned down and left a small kiss on her cheek as she froze. Thank you for taking care of Zoe in my place. Also, it's good to see you again, Artemis, I said, as a deep golden blush spread across her cheeks. Slowly a hand found her cheek as she rubbed the spot I kissed her. Even I blushed a little as I felt the embers of our old love growing hot, but I quickly quelled the feeling as I focused. It, it is good to see you as well, Percy, she said quickly as her blush grew and she stormed out of the room. "All round of my lady, are you okay?" filled the air as she responded with a simple yes. "I am fine. We are leaving in an hour, so hurry up and gather your things." Oh, chaos. Why do you do this to me and my love life? I asked as I looked up at the ceiling and sighed. Then I began to gather the things I needed for my trip back to the last place I wanted to be on Earth, on this Earth, and that comes from a man who lives in Antarctica. Alright, so normally I won't read his author notes, but I just like this part because it's hilarious. This happened, I think, right after the last year's Super Bowl, I think, or something like that. Or I think that was last year's. Yeah, I think last year was the year that Tom Brady kept playing the footballs, right? Yeah, I think so. Wait, did I just switch from basketball to football? Well, it's meant to be football, American football. Uh, if you're not from America, it's like rugby. Is that better? A little less violent, I guess, but it's still fun. So I like reviews more than Tom Brady likes to flame footballs. Bam! First football slam of the season right there. Alright, so yeah, I think this was the last one. That is some funny shit, nuts of the chest. Kudos to you. But so, um, oh yeah, I forgot to put this at the beginning. Disclaimer, I own none of this. I do not own, oh fuck, I do not own Percy Jackson. I do not own this story. I do not own any of this shit. I do not own YouTube. If I owned YouTube, I'd be happy as fuck. But I don't, so, you know. But, yeah, so, the only thing I own here is this video. Uh, alright, so, Percy's point of view, blah, blah, blah. Oh, and another thing. So many different things. Thank you so much for the subscribers. I now have 12. That is not to you people a huge amount. You're like, oh, 12 subscribers. Oh, I know a person who has 20 million. Heh. Um, well, to me, it's an insane number. Just for the fact that this is my first YouTube channel ever, and most people's first YouTube channels do not take off anywhere near this fast. So I've been very lucky, and you people have helped me with that. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Anyways, Percy's point of view. I walked out of my house with all the necessary items for the trip. On my back was a pack full of some necessities I had secured over the years. Some simple, some complex, but most secured safely in the limitless space of my backpack. I had acquired this fine item after helping Athena with a few things over the years. I also had, but also around my shoulders was a simple black messenger bag that was like the backpack, was limitless in space. The only weapon I had was currently in the form of a black belt that wrapped around my waist. Its true form, a polearm. The polearm itself was an item tossed away by Prometheus after it had been tainted. The pole was tainted with the evil of the black seas that used to scatter this earth during the time of the Titans' rules. It had been used to measure the amount of liquid in each sea for the Titans to know. But during my time in Prometheus's graveyard of ideas, I found it when my body stood at its tallest and most mangled form and used it as a cane. But it was magical, for it could decrease in size and weight to that of a toothpick, become 8 miles long, and weigh more than a couple million tons. But even then the weight of it could change regardless of the size, so it was very useful in fights. It was the perfect weapon for my capabilities as well. I found weapons such as swords and all the things with blades distasteful and very barbaric. If a man or woman could not kill with a blunt weapon, they were not then they are not considered powerful. Blunt weapons do not enable the person to cause more damage than they could normally. Instead, they limit him to the basics of his strength and ability. If a man or a woman could kill thousands with a blunt weapon, they could kill billions with a bladed weapon. But thankfully, my body was gifted with a special ability due to me being the first human. I like to call it limitlessness. Limitlessness. Okay. In a short analogy, I am the theoretical number of absolute zero. I am something that is the definition of perfect limit. But everything around me cannot reach me, no matter how hard they try. I am the limit of human capabilities. No human in this universe can surpass the limits that I have set long ago. Any human besides myself, that is. I am the only human that can surpass the limit of humanity because I am the limit. I've progressed light years beyond the limits of humans. I could even consider myself not a human at all anymore. My strength is enough to carry my staff, or knight, at full weight and not be hindered at all during combat. That's one strong son of a bitch. My skin is as strong as steel, and my eyesight is so good that I can see more than telescopes if I focus. My mind is so fast and full that I can perfectly memories. Uh, I think that's supposed to be I can perfectly. I don't even know what you're trying to say there. Nuts of the chest. So I'm just gonna go with it. I can perfectly. I think it's supposed to be remember. I can perfectly remember anything I hear or do. Even now, I have knowledge of things humans cannot even begin to believe. I am able to grow limitlessly in every aspect of the human body, but one thing that is special is that aspect, and that is age. I am gifted with the limitless age that is open to only me for humans. No mortal or god has blessed me with immortality. I did not take some weird potion to give it to me either. I am simply cursed and blessed with the prospect that my life has no limit to it. So in a sense, I cannot die of age. But one special thing that is another special thing. Oh, that's just like three one things. But one special thing that is limited to us humans and me is mana manipulation. You might think, hey, if you can use mana, then why can't I do it right now? Well, that's because a human can only begin to understand the complexity of the mana around them when they have lived for nearly 100 years. Even then, they can only begin to sense it in the air and the ground and learn to manipulate it. It takes nearly 300 years of life. You might say this is unfair, and you would be correct, for only a few humans possess the abilities to even use mana before that age. The earliest I have ever seen someone be able to sense it is at the age of 25, but to manipulate it, I have yet to see below the age of 125 years old. But thankfully, I am the only human with limitless life. But they've all gone through other means, such as a curse from gods or potions. Some are very proficient in the operation of mana manipulation as well, which I find is humorous since I have mastered nearly all 8 of the 10 elements that mana takes its form in. Those elements it is used to manipulate to hardest. Uh, Last consists of fire, water, earth, wind. It all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Earth, wind, water, fire. This is Avatar, Ermiger. I'm a dumbass. Um, earth, wind, lightning, shadow, light, emotion, time, and space that span out in the 10 tiers of mana. But for now, let's focus on the curious-looking goddess of the hunt as she stared at me. You, you're really going to walk across that icy wasteland in nothing but blue jeans, a black shirt, and a pair of Converse? She asked me with raised eyebrows. I nodded. Oh, I also forgot to mention one thing. Over time, my body has evolved due to my ability to become immune to nearly every environment on Earth. Well, it's your funeral, she said as Zoe looked shocked. Mom, I just found my father, and you just told him to go die? She asked in a horrified voice as Artemis got a panicked expression. What? No, 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 no. That isn't what I meant. She said in a panicked tone as Zoe just began to laugh, as Artemis saw she was being picked on, as all the girls began to laugh. You guys are mean. Artemis said she crossed her arms and looked away from them all, as they all laughed harder. Oh fuck. Uh, but that Dad, Dad, seriously, you should put on something more that's more fabric. Holy fuck, man. Restart. But, Dad, seriously, you should put on something that's more fabric than that. Zoe said as she blushed at the word Dad. Holy crap, my English is fucked up as soon as I started doing that sentence. I just smiled as I ruffled her hair and she gave me a hey. Don't worry, I'm gonna be fine. I was built tougher than you can imagine, I said, pounding a fist on my chest, as she just rolled her eyes as she fixed her hair. But since Artemis can't flash in our current location, how do you guys get there? Or get here? We had to use my chariot, but the winds were too much for me to fly any further inland, so we had to land at the edge of this horrible place. She said as I nodded, "How long did it How long did it take you guys to find this place, anyways?" I asked her as she sighed. "Without your friend Happy the Giant Penguin, we probably would have never found him. But I think we were searching for close to 2 months. Also, how the hell is he so big?" She asked me as I left. "Well, I've been running some tests with mana out here, and seeing if I could make a few cures for some major diseases. He's just kind of a side project I thought of in my pastime. I was trying to see if giving a mammal small amounts of pure mana for a few years did anything. Well, apparently, it makes them grow really big." I said as Atlanta's eyes glowed in excitement. "Wait, you said you were trying to find cures for diseases. Did you find any?" "Well, I did find a few. Most are not very pleasant cures for my taste," I said as they all looked at one another. "How were they not pleasant?" As Artemis, "Well, one cure for cancer." I had made a mammal turn pink, then blue, then red, finally returning to their normal color. I said as they all gaped at me. "You mean to say that all you had to do was change color and that was it?" I don't think people would have cared if they were pink for a few weeks. One said, "Well, you see, that is the thing, is that cancer wasn't actually cured until the color transformation was done. But but the thing was, the color transformation took years to cycle through. I don't mean 2 or 3, I'm talking 20 or 30 years. Most of my subjects didn't survive long enough for the cure to take effect properly." I said with a sigh as they all looked at me like I was crazy. "But enough talk. Uh, let's get going." I said as I walked over to a wall as I knocked on it a few times. The next second, the ice seemed to move and form something new. Finally, after a few minutes, I was settled on a very large elevator that could hold us all. "All aboard," I said, as they all just gave me a glare and walked inside the ice elevator. Artemis and Zoe were the last ones as I slipped in after them. "Hold on to something. It might jerk a few times, or just sit on the floor. Your choice," I said as they seemed to take the second option as they sat down, since it was big enough to do so. As th as they did, I knocked twice more, and the elevator jerked, but then began to move upwards as I took a seat by Artemis and Zoe as they looked at me. "Hey, Dad?" Zoe asked as I noticed I was looking off in the distance for a while as I turned to her. "Yeah?" I asked her as her hands fidgeted with one another. "I know my mom is a maiden goddess and all, but did it ever cause any sparks between you two?" She whispered the last part only only enough, I guess only loud enough for me to hear, but Aramis apparently overheard as well as she looked up at us. Or as she looked at us, shit my English, since she was sitting on the other side of Zoe. "Well," I said as I scratched the back of my head as I saw Aramis glaring at me, as if telling me not to like her. I would be lying if I said there wasn't something there. Kind of happens when two people have a kid together. Not that your birth was normal, by any means. It's still kind of happened between us. I was the person to protect her from her father during the time as well," I said as her eyes lit up with excitement and angers. I guess some of her man-hating tendencies were still there, but then a look started to grow on her face as she looked puzzled. She then started looking between me and Artemis as she had a thinking face. Finally, she decided to speak, as she seemed to figure out what she was saying. "Wait, why don't I look like either one of you?" she asked as Artemis seemed to see this one coming as she answered first. "We both thought that it was for the better good to conceal your true image behind a thick layer of mist. However, it was designed to start unraveling once you learned of us, to say the least. But it has been on for so long, it's going to take at least a month for it to fully come off. Think of it as a heavy coat of makeup that is taking its time coming off," she said as Zoe nodded in understanding. "So with that subject in the air, Will I still have my black hair? She asked as I laughed as Armis rolled her eyes. Unfortunately, no. Your hair was yellow when you were born. I said as Zoe looked terrified, as Armis reached over and punched me. Shut up. He's lying, so your hair will get a little more glossy black and then start to have a few streaks of silver in it. She said as Zoe let out a relieved breath. I think that sounds beautiful. She said as I smiled as Artemis did the same. I hope so. Also, your eyes will turn a light silver color with a splash of a proper English, I promise, kiss. With a splash of green, but silver will be your dominant color. I said as she smiled a little. You know, Zoe, you made a total of 100. You made a total 180 since you learned I am your father. You're starting to act your physical age for once. I said, earning a glare from both women as I held up my hands. I can't help it. 1,000 questions are piling up in my head in this instant. And I guess also meeting my long lost father kind of throws you for a loop. Well, we will have time. We will have time to ask all those questions and get this all sorted through while we are on Olympus. I think I'm going to be there for the next few weeks. I said as Armis nodded, as Zoe smiled. But I guess there is something I should tell you. I said as Zoe seemed intrigued. What is that? Happy birthday! I said as I ruffled her hair again, as Armis seemed shocked. You remembered, she said as I shrugged. She's my only daughter, and a child kind of hard to forget. Also, I've built up quite a few birthday presents for the birthday girl. You guys are gonna shit yourself when you hear how many he has. I said as Zoe looked as shocked as Armis did. You got me presents? You got me presents? Oh wait, hold on. Gay ban! Hello, la la la. Oh, Moiger. Alright. Hey guys, thanks guys for watching. Leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff.